Anyway, his next question is, your tone is starting to resemble peripheries. Is this a coincidence, or do they have your dream tone, which is pretty darn good? Well, before in the album Slowin', I was honestly trying to get this kind of periphery tone because I was still in the process of figuring this whole mixing stuff out and using your amp modeler right. So I needed a direction. But now with the new album, I try as hard as I can not to do that anymore, but to get my own vibe, my own sound in there. Might sound a little naive, but anyway, I also dialed in my tones for this new album completely from scratch without trying to think too much about any other bands. And if it still kind of sounds like Periphery, then that's a coincidence. His next question, I write mostly mellow death songs and I want to start making some gent. What needs to change in my technique and style of play to sound more like you? Well, for the gent style itself, I pretty much do it like everybody else. Heavy palm mute picking and also heavy open note picking. And along with the heavy hard picking, you also need to make sure you still play clean and controlled, to get that nice staccato syncopation in there and whatnot. Yeah, also definitely what probably needs to change is the tone, because well, the whole gent style is more focused on a percussive sound. So you definitely want to have a more dry, edgy, and crispy tone that gets this power across in the mid section when you have those hard open notes. With a lot of other metal genres, you go more for a creamy tone, that's more applicable with power chords. But that's not the right approach for the whole gent thing, in my opinion, because it doesn't sound as punchy and crisp and edgy and powerful, and also doesn't get the low and the crust the right way. So something in that area, I guess. And his last question, and probably the most important, why you no play live shows? I'm not kidding, he's writing in all capital letters this question. And with grammatical impairment. Well, why don't I play live shows? Because I don't have a band. In my area, gent is a really rare thing. I think I'm one of the very, very few people in this area who actually know the word exists. And let alone finding people who are capable to play gent. I mean, especially drummers have to be good, with their footwork and still keeping the 4/4 beats and whatnot, and keeping it groovy and on the beat and not sloppy playing. That's not so easy to find. On top of that, my singer, Evan McGore, lives in the States and I am here in Germany. So there's already a big disadvantage in playing live. And also, it's really time consuming because you also have to do band practice regularly. I would have to get some new equipment, which I don't have the money for right now. I mean, after the Pod HD Pro, I'm pretty much broke now. Yeah, I don't have time for that. And also the extra stress, finding gigs and venues to play in and then going there and billing or setting everything up for your live performance. It's just not in the cards right now, and probably not in the near future. Residue asks again, what does ForTiorI stand for or mean? Detonato puts it right after his. He says on his SoundCloud page, he says it means something like for still stronger reason, or all the more in Latin, which is basically correct. The whole expression is actually a ForTiorI, or however you pronounce it in Latin, I don't know, which means for still stronger reason. It's a kind of rhetorical method, but I just dropped the A at the front and just kept the ForTiorI. I think it has a cool meaning. It doesn't really roll off the tongue as nicely, but I don't really care. It looks cool. So then the last guy asking some questions. Gunpoint Metal. If given the opportunity, would you assemble a band and tour similar to what Paul from Jim Spanner does with the right support? Well, what does Paul from Jim Spanner do? I don't know. So, terribly sorry, but I think I cannot answer that question to you. And you just heard my opinion on live playing right now. His next question is, have you ever thought about an international band where the songs are written via internet and each member could locate locally available musicians to perform the material under the same name across continents? That's a really interesting concept, actually, you know, having a kind of international band everywhere, playing the same stuff under the same name. But again, wouldn't work out too well right now. I mean, I gotta be honest, I don't have any band experience. I sit here in my room all day long just writing music for myself and getting my thoughts into music, you know, and then having other cooks adding their spices into my soup. It's not in the cards right now. Perhaps in the future that would be something to think about. I mean, but for this new album I got some guest solos, at least. Yeah, it's a really interesting thought actually, but yeah. Again, managing all of this, you know, finding the people for it. And again, I myself don't play live at the moment, so I think that's not an option right now. But still, interesting concept. And his last question, why did you make me buy Studio One Pro? You're welcome, dude. Yeah, it's an awesome DAW, isn't it? So that ends this video. I hope I answered your questions the way you like, and I hope I get those frequent questions off my back now, so I don't have to always copy and paste the answers. Yeah. Have fun.